Yeah, we generally, I mean, we have like the meeting notes of all of our meetings. There's another one, from before, like 2023. We keep those, so it's all kind of just up and transparent. And then we, put our, the meetings up, the recordings from all the meetings. Um,
Yeah.
we're not, like the internal operational meetings. I think at this point we're, not recording those, but yeah, but like the community meetings, we are just, as a way to just kind of keep everything, transparent. And some people, it's good. Some people like to watch and catch up.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I actually watched some of the Gathering Thrive recordings for the event. So yeah, we like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Um, so yeah, basically I was thinking maybe we start with like like member agreements. We
Yes.
have a we have a list. Now, where is that? I need to like kind of compile everything. Maybe we have it, a copy of it
I'm
here.
reading the notes from previous meetings. I
Yeah.
found that Vasilika.
Yeah.
I met her
Who's
last
it?
week.
Who's that?
Vasilika, she's from Romania.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, she was here last week. Yeah, I met her at the Gathering of Tribes, and she's interested, and so I think just kind of seeing where it goes.
Awesome.
Um, Let me look. Remember- Here we go. All right, so why don't I just maybe I'll drop this in the meeting notes. Um, all right, so I dropped it in the meeting notes. Um, this is just kind of like a current list, right? So basically um, I can just kind of run through it, and
Perfect.
then and then we can kind of talk about ones that need further explanation. The way that we've been thinking about the member agreements is that there's like two different kinds. There's they're all like the required ones where everybody just has to sort of fulfill these requirements, these responsibilities.
Mhm.
And then there's more like a choose a choice or like a grab bag. Um, because basically there's you know talk about there being like four different main ways to contribute. Right? So one is like time, and so most of that, we sort of think about as like in like operations, helping run the community.
Mhm.
There's money, so like, putting, fiat money into the pool. Um,
Yep.
there's, like all the various community contributions. So, all these different things you can do, refer a new member, sort of like blast out on your social media channel, things like that. Um, and then there's, like vouchers. There's, putting vouchers into the pool.
Mhm.
Basically, which is saying like I'm contributing goods and services into the pool. Um,
Yes.
Not for free, right? Like you get credit, so every voucher I put into the pool, is like it's like a debit on my account, because I get credit. Like, so if I put in a voucher, then I can immediately take another voucher and redeem it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like I mean, I don't want to use this language, but maybe like the pool owes me. It's not like one I owe you, but like the pool owes me in the sense like there's something to. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like reciprocity. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, like a reciprocal trade agreement. So basically, we haven't come to a full decision on these. And so maybe it's helpful for us to go through them and just, hear some feedback from you. Um,
Okay. Cool.
so, because we're trying to, kind of figure out, well, what's, choice and what's makes sense as choice and what makes sense as sort of, like the requirements. So, I think I, sort of did it first as requirements. Okay, so have your basic member profile completed. Um, right, we need to sort of figure out what that basic one is, as opposed to other ones, or as
Hmm.
opposed to like it, the idea also, right? We had there's the idea that like we have sort of different level as we go on, have like different levels of onboarding because
Okay.
some people might want to just be like, hey, I just want to like kind of fill out the basic, member profile, my areas of expertise and all of that, and move on, and then just kind of like get in and start using it. And some people might want to, really like dig in more,
Hmm.
as far as like, okay, I want to put more how I work and what's, right, what kind of projects do I want to contribute to? But anyways, yeah, so the basic member profile, right, have, adjust their needs and offerings at least once a month. So, everybody will have needs, everybody have offerings. So really, we're just saying, yeah, you need to just kind of like make sure those are fresh,
Yes.
once a month. Um, okay, add at least 5 vouchers to the pool. I'll just go through and then we can sort of see what actually was, required. All right, so
Okay.
add 5 vouchers to the pool. So basically, when we're adding to the pool, if you add vouchers, you're sort of like funding the pool. You're saying, hey, this is like, 5 hours, of my services time, right? And
Hmm.
I'm committing to that, giving that to the pool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you have to fulfill the commitments of your voucher when they're redeemed in a timely manner.
Hmm.
Um, okay, you have to log your contributions. So, it behooves a person to do that because then they get tokens. They get a reward. But essentially, we're saying, yeah, you need to do that. You need to verify other members' contributions. So some of these contributions, they'll need a verification. Um,
Yeah.
and some of them, would have to do with specific members. Others are just general. So, um, that might just go to the community curators, give feedback and verify the voucher exchanges. So that's definitely one thing, we want to happen is, when somebody, like redeems a voucher, then to give feedback on the services, because that also starts to, build like the reputation, that's
Absolutely.
attached
Yeah.
attached to the member. Um, let's see. Okay, yeah, give your allocated pool of, gratitude tokens each month. So, part of how we're creating you know, the idea of how we're creating a different economy is, to compensate people in different ways, and move away from market based. Like
Hmm.
everything that's in this model now is like specifically not, like not in a standard market based
Yeah.
economy. So, so one of the things is like, okay, so we've got, resources coming into the pool. So some of those we're going to allocate just, to each member every month a certain amount of tokens. If those tokens can only be given to other members.
Okay.
So it's a way
Nice.
of saying like it's an additional way of like compensation, right? Because we're trying to account for, for things, right? It's like, okay, if I, like I have have vouchers, right? And we're doing, some value indexing there. So we're trying to account for like, what the value is of the goods and services that are being exchanged, with vouchers. We're trying to account for like what people contribute with roles or community contributions. But at the same time, there still has to be like, there has to be sort of like some kind of like hard numbers in there, right? So the
Hmm.
community might decide, okay, you do this contribution, it's, 10 tokens. But there's a way where we also have subjective value, so it was like, like the hour you spent with me could have just, could have like changed my life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Um, and so we're saying we want to allocate some of these, the compensation essentially, for people to, to kind of equalize, things, right? Because you're never gonna get like, it's fully whatever, perfect, as far as how we're valuing things. But this way, and it couldn't even be like maybe there's a lawyer in the group, right? Um, and maybe I didn't have anything to do, I did nothing with that person, over the last month. But maybe I just want to give some tokens and some appreciation to the lawyer because I just want to like keep that person in the group, because they have a valuable skill set.
Yeah. Nice. I
So
like that. Hmm.
yeah.
Like different
So
channels or different ways of contribution. Awesome.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Trying out these different ways of contribution, and of handling that, right?
Hmm.
And of compensation, and right because our market-based system, it's really, it's mostly like the person, who's selling, right? They assign the price. Um,
Hmm.
and of course, then also, there's this, like the market assigns the price, but then there's, like so many forces that are acting upon the market.
Hmm.
Um, so so we're saying, oh, okay, well, can the sort of like the recipients, sort of give, have some say in that valuation? Can the community itself have, more say in the valuation?
Course. Yeah. Like it's like not a depersonalized transaction, like like a
Yeah,
different level of awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Somebody said this once, was that it's not like we're changing it from transactional to relational, the exchanges from transactional
Yes.
to relational. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. Pascal,
Hey, how's it going?
hi. It's going
Hello.
well. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. I had a few minutes here, so I was like, meeting must still be going. Maybe I can jump in.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you did. Yeah, we're actually going over some stuff that I think is applicable to you as well. But before we do, would you like to, yeah, introduce, we didn't usually, Carlos, we do like, some initial check-ins, but, we had already,
Mhm.
we'd already taken care of that. But maybe we can just, do a short introduction, for Carlos and for, Mescal, so that way we know who's here. Um, yeah. Well, Mescal, you just jumped in. So maybe, Carlos, would you mind just kind of, sharing a brief intro, about yourself?
Of course, happily. Well, Carlos, I was born in Mexico and I'm currently a digital nomad living in Georgia, the country. And I decided recently to join the regenerative ecosystem. I'm trying to find where my highest point of contribution within it is, with my strengths, my gifts, my being. And yeah, I came across Rob and the HSC a couple of days ago, actually. We had a discovery conversation earlier. He walked me through the program, what the project, what what the intentions are. I find it fascinating, and here I am joining my first weekly call and finding the how I can support this amazing project.
Hmm.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Yeah, I'm
Carlos.
Mescal. Yeah, oh, it's good to meet you, Carlos. I'm also a digital
Likewise,
nomad.
yeah,
How's Georgia though?
beautiful. So different to anything I've ever experienced. Yeah.
Wow, I'll have to check that out. I haven't even like seen anything about Georgia, like the country. So I'm gonna check that out later. But yeah,
Hmm.
I'm living in Jamaica right now. We have a project going on where we're developing a piece of land, and okay, just 1 second. All right.
All
But
right.
yeah, so I have a project I'm working on out here. But some of the professional services that I've been offering have been mostly virtual assistant services where I've been helping people develop their businesses or developing an aspect of their business or a product or a service. And so, yeah, I've also been exploring the regenerative community. And, I actually just came across HSC myself. I just went through the onboarding call yesterday. So, we're both new here.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm also really fascinated and really aligned. We've got another project that we're working on together, but it's feeling really good and I would say really generative and I'm really excited. So it is good to be here with you both and nice to meet you, Carlos, and good to see you again, Rob.
Nice to meet
Yeah.
you too. Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, thank you. I know there's just there it feels like a lot of, yeah, and of course you are, part of that. There's a lot of sort of fresh energy bubbling up and new folks that are interested coming in and so it's very exciting to me and it continually, pumps me up. And yeah, and I think that's great. I mean, I appreciate that as a sort of a helpful sign, because it's like, we are at this place where we're saying, okay, now we've been kind of like, building and creating the model, and now we're ready to sort of, bring it out, to people and work on it. And so the fact that, there's some, there's energy there and folks are showing up, yeah, not only do I really appreciate, but it, makes me sort of say, okay, great, let's, keep going. Um, Yeah. So Mescal, what we were just doing, I think it's, good timing. I can share my screen again. Oh, and here I can pop, the meeting notes, in for you. There's the link. So basically what we're doing is going over, like member, uh, there you go. Um, member agreements, so we're, in this co-development process, like we talked about. Okay, so, one of the main things we're saying, okay, like we've got, we want to become, we want to have folks become active members, right? Including myself, including everybody. Um, we're saying, okay, we're going from just kind of like, generally everybody, sort of is here and we'll, to saying, okay, what is an active member? So, these are the current version of what like the member agreements are. And yeah, so why don't I kind of run through those? I'll start over again if you don't mind, Carlos. Um,
Not at all.
and then I think it'd be great to get feedback from you both. And the last thing to say, Mescal, is that how we sort of talked about these member agreements, and something everybody liked was that there's kind of two kinds. There's the requirements, meaning like like all active members just need to do these things. Everybody agrees to those accountabilities, and then there's contributions that are sort of like that are more choice, more like a grab bag. Um, and and the reason for those is that we'll get to it, but like, somebody may not have, as much financial resources. And so they'd rather take on like a role, or somebody might have more financial resources, but not a lot of time. So they just, want to, kind of put in, more of, like a membership, deposit. Um, so, somebody might be more interested in vouchers than somebody else. So, kind of thinking of ways so that way people can contribute, make it, you know, not have to like, cut people off, because of certain requirements, but also make sure that there's, equity happening as far as like where people contributing. So with that, all right, I'll just kind of run through the first one. So, the first one, have at least your basic member profile created. Two is, have your needs and offerings. So and then, adjust those at least once a month, so keep your needs and offerings fresh. Um, full, oh, here, actually want to move this down.
I actually read through these while you were speaking.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, and they all make sense to me. And I love the idea of different ways that you can contribute to the community. Um, and I really like these. I like these definitions as far as like, possible agreements and stuff like that. And it just looks good. I don't know if there's any kind of like background you want to give on any of these in particular, but
Um, contribute. Yeah, let me just take a look at yeah, I mean, maybe they're, as I'm reading through the bottom ones, they do feel, fairly sort of self-explanatory. So I guess my question for you both, and I'm gonna just kind of separate these. So, you know, we have been talking, for a while, we've been saying like it would be really great, if everybody can at least pay like some kind of, membership fee slash deposit, because just to get some fiat money coming into the pool, not only just because that's going to help, right? Maybe we could pay, eh, some of the overhead, expenses, but also like, we want money coming in anyways, because, some of that is just like what's gonna, make the whole thing go around. And so, to, to get that type of value flow moving in. So, the like a question that we're asking is, okay, well, is everybody required, to pay the membership fee? Basically we're just saying that. And then, if people really have financial hardship, then we'll work out something, or is it, well, somebody, could decide that they want to take on a role, an operational role instead of paying, like the fiat money deposit. Uh, uh, um, so, these are the two, like those are the two sort of main like contributions that are going to be like sort of more either time or money in intensive, but are also like really going to be like these like big drivers. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering from each of you, what are your thoughts on like the requirements there? And essentially, do we require, do we just say, hey, everybody who's in, you need to pay $10 a month or whatever?
It makes sense to me. I'm curious if you have some I lost it. Uh, oh, there it is. Like if you have some membership deposit fee in mind at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, we've been talking about like, basically like $10 or $15 a month.
Okay. And um yeah, the other is yeah, um it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. I can imagine that it goes like the more the community grows, the cooperative grows, the longer way this kind of membership fee will go. Like it'll go a long way for the overhead expenses, etc. So I feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, people have been pretty, pretty comfortable about it. So Mescal, what do you think? What's your perspective?
I'm really thinking about the experience of like first being introduced to the idea of the member agreements. And what comes up for me is sort of having like an introduction to the agreements. And I'm just seeing in my head, like, you know, you've completed your, like, you go through the profile setup, and afterwards, after you do that, like, you get this thing that's like, okay, well, welcome. And, these are our member, this is what a member does. Or there's like a page on the website that says, this is our basic member agreements. And, we try to keep it accessible for folks, regardless of your situation. So, we have this fee. If you need that, if you can pay that, great. Even having it be like a sliding scale with like a minimum and like a maximum, and maybe there's some incentives to put like this is the deposit which you can get back if you decide to leave, and then like this is your contribution where if you want to see something get done, or you want to see something, you want to see something else, or you just want to support, you can make a contribution. And then there's also like yeah, like this whole submit a proposal, like having a little bit of text around that, like saying, if if this isn't something you can do right now, but you really need the community, then we invite you to submit a proposal. These are some of the things that we know that we need, and if there's something else that you see, that amongst these needs that could be potentially useful, let us know. So that was what came up for me when I first saw them.
Yeah, yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah, so it could be like the membership, right? And this is also sort of language, like um I like that, so the deposit, like I'm also testing that, right? Because it could just be called a fee, but that doesn't actually feel to me like what it is or the intention of it, the like calling it a deposit, feels more like the intention. So again, this is sort of just talking about like language, which I also think is important, especially as we're creating it, now. Because that's the idea, right? Like it isn't like, to me, a fee feels like I'm paying a fee to somebody else, you know, fair enough, right? To sort of manage the platform. But in this case, it's just everything that's going in is more like just a deposit to the pool. Um, but putting aside language, yeah, so it sounds like, Pascal, you might, rather than just have like a named price, we could have a sliding scale, for
Yeah,
that, so we could say something, whatever we could call it, $2 to $20, or, $5 to $25 or something. Um, right. And then people can, then everybody's kind of contributing, and has that, like Carlos, you were saying before, has that skin in the game in a sense. Um, but it's flexible.
Yeah, totally. I think it's, well, like you've said, like if for some reason it's hardship to pay the monthly deposit, like you can, like it's more about exchange, like an energy exchange. Like if you don't have money, you can of course contribute in different ways, and could be taking as your monthly deposit to do some work, some meaningful work for the project. So yeah, feels balanced and fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And so what about like the like an internal role or task? So let me show you, kind of what we have. Um, Here, let me, show you what we have as far as, the couple ways to, contribute, right? So, you know, f- like right now we have, so there's a certain list, of these. This is what we have now for, different kinds of contributions, right? So there's roles, and there's going to be, there's also like projects and tasks. There's roles, general roles, and as we fill them out, they'll get more, but like a community manager, an onboarding lead, things like that. There's also, different just kind of community contributions, right? You refer somebody, you refer a client to someone, you're a note taker at a meeting, you facilitate a skill share, attend a community meeting, you write a blog post for the website, um, tested out a feature, things like that. So, there's a certain so I want to show you that, right? And so to say, okay, is there, a certain amount, that a person needs to contribute, every month or every quarter or something as far as community contributions. And the other thing, is the specific, roles, right? So down here, we saw, roles. There's also, projects. I mean, right now I think that projects and tasks, we'll list those. In the old member portal, this was the old one. Now we're getting the update. The old member portal, like we could basically like list, hey, these are projects and tasks, and people can look at those, right? So there's two ways. They can self-select something that we're already saying, hey, this kind of needs to be done. Do you want to work on it? Or more like, Mescal was talking about, which is, basically like I'm seeing a place, where I can bring value to the community. And so now I'm going to propose, make a proposal, um, to do that. So, so that's kind of like the role, um, the roles and the tasks. So again, these are, what do you all think as far as, like requirements? Essentially there's the community contributions, and then there's like, more like the operational roles. We're separating those because there's a way where those we're separating for two reasons. This is the idea now. And of course, any of this can change, right? Again, this is a co-created process. But the idea is number one, like these roles, like certain things has to happen in order for the thing to run. So, just like with any organization, right? Like there has to be, coordination and organization and management and things like that. So, they take on like a sort of a little bit of a higher tier of importance because they just need to get done. And secondly, the idea is that what we would like to happen as time goes on, if they're, get big enough, pools, is that those operational roles, people can start to be compensated at least in part with fiat money. So, hopefully, right, the idea is that like, people can start to, whether it's fully or partially, make a living by being the curators of the community, because there's a lot to kind of curate and to manage and all of these things, and so we ideally want those compensated with money. So I guess the question is, like do we think that there's some sort of requirement for everybody to take on kind of some role or some task, at least at some level? Or is it a matter of like, well, you could do that, or you could, do community contributions at a certain level? I don't know.
Uh,
I mean, I think that maybe it's something that we may not want to make like a hard decision about amongst ourselves, and maybe ask other people in kind of like a survey or something, because I would love to
Yeah.
get some data around what makes sense for more people, like from more people basically. Like we can sit here and say we should do this or do that, but when we actually like there should be at least like a handful of people who we can ask like, does this stuff make sense? And maybe even as we adjust the member portal, as you know, making that shift over to this new member portal, maybe thinking about some of these conversations that are happening in the meetings, putting some of those questions together and doing a little like internal survey of like 5 questions maybe.
Yeah.
And that would allow us to get some data, and I also see it as an opportunity to like even build that into the technology of like doing little surveys, because as long as they're short, people will they'll take them. And
Yeah.
I've seen, you know that's just what I see companies do all the time. They're always doing surveys, and I feel like even though it can be kind of invasive, like for our purposes, as long as we space them out, it can be
Hmm.
really generative and really helpful as far as development goes. So um, just balancing it is just the hard part.
Yeah.
But to begin with, having the option is cool. Can I do this or can I do that? Options, I feel like, are always helpful.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. Any thoughts, Carlos?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I don't know if it's gonna be too much into the idealist part of me, but I'm thinking like as we were discussing earlier, kind of this trust-based default. Saying like for those of you who can't contribute financially, what about if you do any meaningful contribution you consider fair, a fair exchange? And I would put it into the operational aspects of the proposal, like like not in the community contributions, but more into the operational part of the community, so that the work can help us all as a group get closer to their goals. But I don't know if it's something that could be uh, tested, or how to test it even. But I also like the idea of asking more people their opinions, and having a bigger mix of perspectives.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because I think, even if like, right, there is a way, okay, if somebody pays, $10 a month, right, then, I mean, that's great, and that's, really, if we get everybody sort of, chipping in at some level, right? But if somebody takes on a role, right, and it's like 3 hours a week, and so then that's, maybe 13 hours a month, suddenly that makes the $10, look pretty small, as far as like a real commitment. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, because I think the main point, and as we're talking about it, that's what brings it in, is that um, that it's really that everybody feels like people are contributing, at a sort of fair and equitable level. And those who are contributing more, right? Because it's a contribution-based, economy and ecosystem, or that those who are contributing more are receiving more compensation, or more, yeah.
Seems like a question also
Yeah.
for like the voucher system. If you're doing something, maybe instead of like having like a full role, like if somebody can take on a full role, that's like a set of tasks you could take up. But if there's like individual tasks, you can also break them up and have somebody offer to do offer to do like one set of tasks or one task, as a part of the voucher system and your credit system and stuff like that. You can always like cash out your credits and stuff like that. So I think breaking up some of the work in the roles would be a way for people to gain credibility, gain um, you know, standing in the community, and also be able to like contribute. And um, even the $10 a month, um, you know, it can be, I feel like something like that would just have to kind of like be sat on and thought about. Because we're sitting with it, and if you have that thought of like, oh, it's not, it doesn't seem like it would be complete comparable, really. Um, like it may not be the best way to like capture the the exchange that needs to happen. Maybe it is, but I for one, when we're talking about it right now, like I can't see myself making a decision in the next, like 20 minutes. Like, is $10 really like an equal exchange compared to like a role that you could take up in the community and stuff like that? And it's like for those kind of decisions, I feel like you don't want to wait too long on them, but it's helpful to have like the space of time where it's like weighing them and finding a solution, or an alternative route. Um, it takes kind of like an aha moment where you're doing your dishes, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, totally. I'm gonna name other people know. I'm gonna name that I can't, there's some ways where I can't multitask. I just my brain won't do it. So that's why
Same.
so that's why I'm taking what I think are fairly poor notes of what's happening here, because I'm trying to listen to you and then take notes at the same time, and kind of facilitate the meeting. And that's, yeah. So I feel like the notes could be better. You're giving a lot more input, but that's why they're kind of small and not great.
No, the notes are great, but it seems like you need like a AI note taker.
That's true. And I do generally transcribe the meetings. So that's actually, yeah, I forget about that. Yeah, I transcribe them. So then, we can have that and take them into notes and action steps. Um, yeah, right, what you kind of are bringing up to me, when you were saying that, which is, I think that's part of, what I'm hoping, or I'm kind of assuming, is that it's part of like the first people who are showing up and arriving here, at this point, are probably like less concerned with, you know, at this point, whether they're, fully getting, compensated fairly, and, enough, as, oh, am I getting compensated enough, as much as, Carlos is or Pascal is. But like, I think the people who are showing up now, are probably ones who are saying, hey, let's find out these answers. Let's experiment and let's play in this. Um, and I think that if we have a group of people who are sort of starting that way and wanting to do things and wanting to create this, um, yeah, then hopefully we can find some of these answers, and pave the way then, where other people, might come in, and, we have it, set where there's already a little bit more of like that experimentation has already been done.
Yeah, people definitely enjoy that from what I can tell, where they have something to like reflect on and something to like chew on and come back to, and like, oh, this makes sense. And this doesn't make sense here. And yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what I liked, honestly, was I came in, I saw the website, everything was clear. I filled out my profile, I got my follow-up email. I was invited to this community meeting and stuff like that. All of that stuff makes it easy for people to go from interested to involved. So I definitely feel like at this point, just doing more promoting and doing more, building, and the infrastructure will come together effortlessly, especially with, building out this new member portal. And we've got so much going on in the what is that? The old member portal, and the Notion is awesome.
Mm.
So yeah, it's cool stuff. It's definitely already a lot to work with, and it's a lot to develop on. And I like, for me, what I have found in looking at different communities is there's no way for me to feel like there's like a connection to something tangible, or making that crossing that chasm where you're going from talking to doing. Oh, here's my son. Uh, but yeah, so I like, excuse me, baby, stop it. But I like the generative atmosphere. I like the experimentation. I think if other people will resonate with it when it's put in front of them.
Yeah. 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 Thank you. Thank you. That's really great to hear. So, so would you, so, uh, okay. So the idea, is, for now is to say, hey, like, let's, from your perspective, I'm hearing like, just, take a look at these member, agreements and kind of chew on those and we can also just start to, play in them.
Well, I would want to know what do you feel needs to be done next? Um, you know, from the standpoint of what's been developed so far and what people what people could use in the space currently. Like, what do you feel like needs to be done next, and what would you be asking members to consider next? Because I actually had a feature that I was thinking about, which was like campaigns. Um, and this idea of like everybody coming together to like promote certain things together,
Mm,
and they could do that externally, where like, 'cause I need to do a rebranding for my consulting services, and it would be cool if I was like, if I was like, okay, so I'm part of this association, which is a cooperative. We're all professionals and we're building something, and we're building something together. Excuse me, baby. um and I'm rebranding, and I want you to be a part of that process. And other people are doing similar work, and we're all just promoting ourselves and each other and this work and this body of work. So having a place where we do external campaigns and then maybe even internal campaigns, which are like sprints, where we're doing the development of something that needs to happen internally.
hmm
So that's kind of where my brain's been at, is like, how do we build internally while building, ourselves and our brands? Because maybe I'm not established in the same way that maybe someone else is, and maybe they can offer insights, and that's where it's like you're getting those education tools and stuff like that. So
Yeah. 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 So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely like we've got there's a lot of like, projects and tasks, we've, um, so there's definitely like, things to do, right? And you're talking about, you're saying, some specific ideas. Um, it sounds to me like when you say campaigns, you're talking about like, promotion and how can we promote the, the cooperative and also promote each other. Um, yeah, and I think that that's one big piece. Number one is like if we have a holistic systems platform, right? And we have a LinkedIn company page. So we can start, promoting out on there, um, not only what we're doing, but also like, our members, member spotlights, things like that. Right. And then there's also ways, yeah, where we can come together, and say, oh, hey, can we help each other? Let's cross promote on our own platforms. So, that's something where, yeah, where we'd have to, I think we'd want to like talk a little bit more, about, okay, what exactly is like what is the thing that we're doing? What would it need? What's kind of the project? But that sounds great. Um, yeah, and then we have a boatload of sort of tasks. We've got our asana boards here with all the tasks. So and that's the idea, right? At a certain point, when somebody comes in and takes on a role, is that we bring them you know into here. Maybe someday this we'll have something like this in the app. Actually, what we'd like to do is we want to like try and integrate asana with the app. But for now, um, bring people in, and this is what we're trying to do. And the more we've actually done this, right, and this is fairly new, just in the last month. The more we've done this and been able to, you know, um, get clarity around tasks and who's doing what, like the more we've been able to accomplish. Um, yeah.
yo, I have
Carlos. Oh yeah, go
to
ahead.
log out. Yeah, I have to log out. But yeah, if anything comes up, just shoot me a Slack message or something, and Um, I'm around, but I gotta go do some family stuff.
Okay. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
we actually do have a starter mem a survey.
cool.
So yeah, so I'll send that to you, and it's yeah something we've come up with, and that's feels really important to us, and it's a lot of it is about like what do you want out of this thing?
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, for sure. Send it over. I'll check it out.
cool.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, thanks
hey,
for
thanks
having
for
me.
dropping by.
Yeah. All right.
Be,
Talk to you
be in
guys soon.
touch.
All right. Bye.
I
Yeah. So, but yeah, any thoughts come in? I know, yeah, there was a lot sort of flying around.
I'm thinking, yes, I have a question. Maybe can you please share your screen again with the list of members, um, like the list we were seeing right now?
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
Because I have a question for you. Which one of these 13 for you are the activities that any member has to do?
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know if I want to require people to put in vouchers, but at the same time, like it's kind of it is one of like the pillars, one of the of what we're doing. So if somebody doesn't like want to put in any vouchers, I don't know, but I don't know that I want to, necessarily like feel like I have to require. If I
Mhm.
want to say, um, re requirements, I mean, maybe I'll just, for now, maybe I'll take out adding, like if somebody actually puts one in, if they redeem it, right, then I think, giving feedback is a requirement. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, to me, feedback on needs and offerings, vote on contribution. I think, yeah, maybe like these feel like to me, like kind of these just like
Like,
core requirements that everybody needs to
abs
do. Yeah.
Absolutely. It was exactly the word I was using. I was going to use like it feels like the core of of the of the cooperative. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe maybe it's something like this, is sort of like
Hmm.
um uh like I don't know what's it called? Required um of choice. I don't know I don't know what to call it.
I'm,
Like
I'm
choice
I'm
requirements or like like
I'm
grab
thinking
bags.
like yeah. I'm thinking more like to I mean the way I think about those two, number 8 and 9, like exchange requirements, like 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 yeah, like your contribution. Like, do you want to contribute
Hmm.
uh, to the ecosystem, like ecosystem contribution? Like you can contribute financially or in time. Like it's kind of like this building aspect of the community. Um, yeah, that's how I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. That actually makes a ton of sense to me. Like contribution requirements. Because
Also,
it's not that these aren't like contributions, but these are like these are the very specific like, hey, these are the things that we really need to like keep the train rolling.
exactly.
And so yeah, so everybody needs to right like take some part in that. And
Yeah.
then Um, and then maybe these are like, you know, high, highly, suggested, member activities.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe whatever. Maybe you say three. Yeah, I don't know. It's not a bad starting list, you know?
No, I really like it. I mean, it feels, yeah, makes a lot of sense to me right now. I mean, I'm still just getting context and a little bit of, yeah, understanding a little bit more. But yeah, that initially and right now as my onboarding journey starts, like it makes a lot of sense.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was helpful to go through that. Um, yeah, and putting these in that sort of frame, right? Then we can kind of like work out what the details are.
Exactly.
Yeah, as far as okay, how much? Um, yeah, but that feels good, because I think if somebody's at least at this point, if somebody's coming in, they're saying, well, I just kind of want to do these things and maybe some of these, then
Mhm.
I might feel like, like, hey, you're, not contributing as much as, like everybody else.
Mhm. Yeah, of course.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's like I think that's important. I think that's yeah, that's a big piece now to just like have up because people are, that's a great question. Um, there's also, something which is more like we're calling like the community agreements. So these are like more
Hmm.
member agreements, like this is what you have to do as an individual. And then, we
Yes.
have community agreements, which is like, what are our values? What's our, like what's our governance structure? What is our, right, like, conflict resolution, behavior, and all of that. So that's something we've been working on a lot. And need to sort of get a first draft of. I think
Hmm.
Saya is kind of working on that. But it feels important, but like less like right now has to happen.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, I saw earlier that there is a Discord community, and like I'm not into Discord. I'm not a lot into Discord. I used to be. Sometimes you join a Discord community, and like they have very well developed community guidelines that just thinking out loud, maybe we could borrow some that are in alignment with the ethos of HSC for now, like just to have something like a base. But yeah, sounds like something to be developed eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Agreements.
And we've done a lot on that as far as like in meetings and talking
Great.
about it and sense making, so you know, we do kind of have, you know, sort of a good amount of, you know, it's not like in tangible form, but
Oh, okay.
good amount of like kind of ideas. We've gone through and we said, hey, this is, sort of how we want to do conflict resolution, and we're gonna do operations and governance, through sociocracy, or we're gonna try that.
Of course.
Yeah. So, but there's also, yeah. I mean, I think that having, right, that's another thing for like members. We want to have like a handbook. We have kind of the first version in the old member portal, which was like how, how we, how do we run things? What's the structure? I mean, I think we need to go over a lot of this. And there's also
Mhm.
other organizations. I think like what you're saying is a great idea. There's other organizations that even have, a couple of them that have these handbooks, that we could really like take a lot, from.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, that's definitely a job. Um, this is, I hadn't really thought about this until after our meeting, because I was like, you're a member.
Welcome.
Welcome, which is kind of how easy it has been. But, it is a good question, is to sort of go along. Okay, well, how do we, how is a member, accepted?
Yes.
What's the process for that? Is it, yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, I would, like I'm part of another community. Um, I mean, the life-centric work lab, and I'm the founding member in the founding team. So we are also exploring this onboarding process. And something I really love is sending an email with all the information because it's life-centric work lab.
Ah, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So you send an email with all the links, like the Notion site, your availability for meetings, like you can even like step by step, you know? But in my opinion, one of the most important things in my experience, actually, not my opinion, my experience, it's the first part should be build your basic profile. Like, log into the portal and build your basic profile. And if there is a way to show like a 30-second video, someone welcoming the new member, so like there's a lot of information. Like take it easy. You have everything on your email. This is like a welcome. First thing first, building your profile. You can get to know members and the member section, and like keeping it super simple at the beginning and giving everything by email. Like uh, that has worked so far better um, as a process. And for me, would be um, um, I'm more biased towards connections. So maybe like, build your profile and these are our weekly meetings or the events, what have you. And these are the touch points you can have in person with the community if that is your preferred style of communication. But
Hmm.
I mean, I would say right now to keep it simple, and test what works. But I don't know if that makes sense for you.
Hmm. Yeah, that does make sense. Um, yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense as far as like yeah, the sort of process, the process for bringing in new members. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
very helpful. Right, to do, start with that member profile, right? And it sounds like you have experience that works, as well as, sending the email with everything and just, yeah, but to also say, hey, let's start here. I know I actually made on one of these things I'm working on, I made like, because I was thinking about, okay, how does somebody get started? And I made this um, first sort of version of like a member checklist,
Oh,
you
cool.
know. These are things that are like, uh, they're not all sort of like, oh, you have to do this like right at the start, but I think this is more like a, hey, like this is how you can get started and how you can participate, because I think sometimes it's right, it's hard at first, when you're like, oh, I don't know what to do and what, it's like,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like from what I see in this list, like maybe like being explicit about it, like you don't have to do everything at once, like, but if you do everything, that's pretty much what like a thorough overview of the community and how we collaborate and interact with each other. So it reads like a very comprehensive checklist. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now we need and look, we're working hard on it, but we need, we need the app to sort of catch
Yeah.
up to everything. Um,
Mhm.
but you know, it's happening. And the first sort of main feature set is going to be the member profiles.
Cool. Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's a lot to it's a lot here. Um, but I think a lot to to give and to offer, that's already set. Um, so okay, so then this is a very practical question, but also sort of feels like it's plays into everything we're talking about, which is what like what makes like how would you like to contribute? Sort of okay, how being here again at this place where you see we're kind of putting this together, may be different than somebody coming in whatever in 3 weeks.
Mhm.
But for you coming in now, right? Like, how would you like to participate? And also understanding that, you're a a new person, right? So we're also not gonna, sort of ask the moon of you.
Of course. No, I mean, wow, that is a very good question. I mean, I'm super curious and very excited after both calls today. So my um yeah, I'm feeling called to contribute, especially right now that I have the time while I'm looking for options, to for my personal financial viability, to allocate a lot of time. I mean, I could put 5, 10 hours a week into contributing maybe into the projects or building my profile and giving feedback or testing features once the platform goes live. I mean, um, yeah, I mean, I am all in with the co-developing role we were discussing earlier. So
Yeah.
I financially, I mean, I think it makes more sense for me right now to contribute with my time. I think it has more impact, especially during these early stages.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's how I would like to contribute. Um, let's say during October, and yeah,
Yeah. That's fantastic. That's so, yeah. And I don't
awesome.
know, we're not really even set up yet to actually like,
Mhm,
take money. We don't have, we're setting up, right. Whether it's going to be, might just be like a Stripe, account
mhm.
and all of that. So, uh, I think that's less of a, kind of concern now as actually like time and doing these things and these roles and tasks. So
Mhm.
if you're in, that's great. I'm in. I've got, like we can go over we can go over what there is. I can start to sort of like tell you, hey, these are the different things that we're working on. What makes sense for you to, if you want to like take on a task, take on a project or something. Yeah, we're starting to get, fairly organized around that.
I can
And
see. Yeah, there's a lot of structure. Sorry to cut you off.
yeah. No, not at all. No, I was just gonna say, and that's amazing. I mean, I really appreciate that's the biggest thing, now is is just, is time, people sort of like, helping and contributing to, completing these things that we, have that we know need to be done.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm happy to help. I mean, it's not even. I don't see it as help. It's like co-creating.
Yeah. Um, yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, it is. Yeah. I think so. Co-creating. We can go over some, if you want, I'm happy to go over, some items right now.
We could do that for sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's just go over it. We don't have, have to lock anything in. I'm just gonna pause the recording because I don't, it's
Right.
internal operations and things and people. Yeah, until we figure out. I'm just gonna do a last final recording. All right. Well, thank you, Carlos. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Rob. Likewise. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, myself as well. All right. Cheers. Be in touch.
Be in touch. Bye.